Okay, Alhamdulillah. والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with a beneficial knowledge, guide us, and protect us from all evil. We'll continue with our lecture, which is the fiqh in madahibs, that is, inshallah, limited as for now in the month of Ramadan, in fasting in the month of Ramadan and its rulings. Now, and we talked about in the beginning the obligatory of the month of Ramadan by providing the proofs from the Quran and the Sunnah and the ijma' of the Ummah, which is agreed upon. Then we talked about the way of determining the beginning of the month of Ramadan, which is first to see sight the new moon. If that doesn't happen for any reason, then they have disputed and disagreed how we're going to do that. Some of the Jumhur said we're gonna still just maintain the same thing, which is sighting. If we cannot, then we complete 30 days. So this is the things that we talked about. Also, we talked about when can we sight the moon, and if we see it, when can we see to determine that we should fast tomorrow or it was for last night. We talked about all those things. So today also we're gonna go into another difference that we covered briefly in a question that was asked in the beginning of the halaqah, which is al-ikhtilaf fi husul al-ilm ru'ya. So now we know all these things. They have difference in how to obtain the knowledge of their citation. Now we know that we have to cite the moon, we have to do all those things, but how can we accept, or what are the methods of accepting the sighting of the moon? What are the methods? So number one is al-hiss wal-khabar. It has to be physical, and also the other one has to be informal, like it has to be information, like delivered to you that you didn't see it. So it's different. One, it has to be you are the one who physically saw it, or somebody informed you that they see it. So these are the only two ways. These are the only two ways. And you can include that text message, voice message, and all those things. Khabar. So first is al-hiss, which is the physical seeing by the individual, or the people who saw it deliver the information, the knowledge to you. These are the two ways. They call it فَإِنَّ لَهُ طَرِيقَيْنِ أَحَدُهُمَا الْحِسُّ وَالْآخَرُ الْخَبَرُ. The first way is physical seeing it directly, by yourself. The second one is somebody else informed you that they have seen the moon. So let's talk about the first one. فأما الطريق طريق الحس الطريقة الأولى, the first one, فإن العلماء أجمعوا على أن من أبصر هلال الصوم وحده أن عليه أن يصوم. So now we're going to the agreement. They agreed, have consensus that if a person sights the new moon by himself, he must fast. All of them agreed except one person, Ata ibn Abi Rabah. Ata ibn Abi Rabah is not part of the four, but is also one of the great fuqaha. But here, all the fuqaha, they agreed that if a person sights the moon by himself, he must fast the next day. They all agree. Ata, he said, لا يصوم إلا برؤية غيره. He will not fast except if he has another person who sights it. If he sights it by himself, he cannot fast till another person sees that. So that is, ra'yun shadh. Ra'i shadh is a very narrow opinion because it went against all the fuqaha. It went out against the fuqaha. So here we can simply say, if a person cited, let's wait after we bring all the statement of the fuqaha. So all of them said, if you cite it by yourself, regardless of what happened to other people who did not see, but you have to fast except Ata. وَاخْتَلَفُوا هَلْ يُفْطِرُ بِرُؤْيَتِهِ وَحْدَهُ. So this is in the beginning, to fast. They all agreed. If you cite it, you fast. But they disagreed when it is breaking or ending the fasting, when it is the end of the month. If you see it by yourself, are you commanded, obligated to break your fast or not? This is a disagreement. فذهب مالك وأبو حنيفة وأحمد إلى أنه لا يفطر. Malik and Abu Hanifa, they said, if the person sights the moon by himself at the end of the month of Ramadan, they will not break their fast. They will not break their fast. So who said that? The two fuqaha, Malik and Abu Hanifa. Shafi'i, he said yuftar. Shafi'i, he said yuftar. Shafi'i, rahimahullah, he said yuftar. If he cites it at the end, that's it. He used the same ruling as the beginning. At the beginning, if you see it, they all agree that you fast. But at the end, two said no. Abu Hanifa and Malik, they said no. But Shafi'i said yes. And Imam al-Thawri, Abu Thawr, he said the same that what Shafi'i said. And this is what Shafi'i said. He said, what Shafi'i said, the Sheikh is saying, Rashid, he said, what Imam Shafi'i said here, is not very supported. It's not very supported. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, the Prophet obligated the person, who sights the moon to fast. Who sights the moon to fast. If they sighted by themselves to fast, but to break their fast, that's another thing. So it's kinder Abu Hanifa and Shafi'i, they made a separation. Abu Hanifa and Malik, and even in Ahmad also said the same thing. Madhab Hanbali also, they said the same thing. If they see it, they should fast in the beginning. If they don't see it, if they see it by themselves, they should break their fast in the beginning. Yes, I still, yeah. So it's Abu Hanifa and Malik and Ahmad rahimahullah. Abu Hanifa, Malik and Ahmad rahimahullah, they said in the beginning, but at the end, they will not. But Shafi'i, he said, if they see it in the beginning, the way that they will fast is the same thing that is going to apply at the beginning, at the end, if they see it. Now, because the Prophet ﷺ, he obligated people to fast based on citing it. So they said that citation has to be physically attached to the person, which means that the person has to cite it by themselves in order to break their fast. But in order to start their fast, they can get information from other people. This is something that they're just putting there, but we'll break it down and come up with the conclusion, inshallah. Also, the ijma', if there was no ijma' that we must cite the fast, we must cite the new moon. And if a community cites the moon, one person or two people is sufficient for the entire community. If the ulama did not bring that, the Imam Malik and Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Ahmad, they are running away from people taking advantage of, breaking their fast early. They said, if we don't make it strict at the end of the fasting, to make sure that we block the people may, bring chaos at the end of the month of Ramadan. So the criminals may come and use that claim that they cited the moon, but they did not cite it. So this is, this is what their justification. What is their justification? But Ash-Shafi'i, he said, إذا خاف التهمة أمسك عن الأكل والشرب واعتقد الفطر. So Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, he said, if this person who sides the moon in the month of Ramadan, at the end of the month of Ramadan, he said they should or they must break their fast. But he put a condition. He said, فَإِذَا خَافَ عَنِ التُّهُمَةِ. If he afraid that if he announced that he sighted the moon, he will be accused or blamed, that might bring a problem. He said he should break his fast. He should break his fast, but also hide. He should, at the beginning, he should break his fast in secret, but, show that he's fasting just to be with the Jama'ah. So this is what Shafi'i rahimahullah said. Malik also came up with a very narrow opinion here. He said, من أفطر وقد رأى الهلال وحده فعليه القضاء والكفارة. Imam Malik, so he kind of went against Imam Shafi'i here. He said, if a person break their fast based on their own citation, they must make up that day and they should pay a penalty. They should pay a penalty because they did something terrible. So this is Madhab al-Malik. Abu Hanifa, he said, alayhi al-qada faqat. So Abu Hanifa and Malik, they agreed on the wrongdoing of this person, basing their end of Ramadan on by only their citation. But they disagreed on how to fix that. Imam Malik said he should make up that day and also pay a penalty, which is to fast 2 months straight. Or to feed 60 miskin, or to if they cannot, or to free a slave. But Abu Hanifa in his madhab, he said no, they should just make up 1 day. They should make up the day that they break their fast. So they agreed on one thing, making it up, prohibiting this person to break their fasting based on their own citation. But they disagree on, making it up. They disagree on making it up. Imam Malik rahimahullah, he said they should make up and also pay penalty because that is a penalty. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he said they should just make up the day without having any penalty. So this is the first method of determining the beginning of the month of Ramadan, which is al-hiss, physical seeing. And this is disagreement happened between the ulama. The second way, both of them are the same. The second way is, information. Somebody give the information, you didn't see it, but somebody, extended that information to you. They are disagreed. فإنهم اختلفوا في عدد المخبرين الذين يجب قبول خبرهم عن الرؤية في صفتهم. So they disagreed on describing the number of the people that we can accept the information that they brought to us. They also disagreed on defining the people who should be trusted with citing the moon, which means they disagree on the person who will come to us. How many people that can bring to us the information? Number 2, they also disagreed the description of that person, the attribute of that person, who that person should be. So they disagreed. They agreed that if the information comes, we will break our fast. But they disagreed on the people or the person who will bring the information. Now, Imam Malik rahimahullah, he said, إنه لا يجوز أن يصام ولا يفطر بأقل من شهادة رجلين عدلين. So, if you are coming from Imam Malik rahimahullah, he said, it's not permissible. I have to mute somebody, brothers. I'm doing better than I deserve. I've learned. Okay. we get that person. So Imam Malik rahimahullah, he said, it's not. He's sticking to his first his method in the first method of citing the moon. So he said it's not permissible for a person to fast or to break their fast except based on the information that came from two trusted men, from two trusted adult, men. Said it has to be like this. Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, Imam Malik rahimahullah said, we people can only fast or break their fasting no less than the testimony of two male adults. It has to be two male adults. This Imam Shafi'i, Imam Malik rahimahullah. Malik rahimahullah. So, Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, in a narration from Muzani, if you go to Madhab Imam Shafi'i, he has a narration that goes to Muzani. He said, إنه يصام بشهادة رجل واحد على الرؤية ولا يفطر بأقل من شهادة رجلين. So Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, in the narration from Muzani rahimahullah, he said, people can fast based on the citation of one person, but based on the information they get from one person. But they cannot break their fasting except with two people who claim that they cited and they saw the moon, they brought information to us. So this is Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah. But the first narration from Shafi'i rahimahullah, he said both are okay. But here in the narration of Muzani rahimahullah, he said no. In the beginning, yes. If it is informational, in the beginning we can take it with one person, but at the end we must have two male adults. This is Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah. If you go to his madhab. Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he said, in kanat as-sama'u mughayyimah qubila wahid. Abu Hanifa, he said, if the sky is clouded, one can be accepted. وَإِنْ كَانَتْ صَاحِيَةٌ بِمَصْرٍ كَبِيرٍ لَمْ تُقْبَلْ إِلَّا شَهَادَةُ الْجَمِّ الْغَفِيرِ. He said, if the sky is clean, no cloud, he said, we cannot fast except by the citation of many, many people. The citation of many, many people. If there is no cloud, many people must see it in order for people to fast. It cannot be based on one person. But if it is clouded, then he accepted one. If it is not, he said it has to be many people to cite it, because the chance of citing it at that time is high. وروي عنه أنه تقبل شهادة عدلين إذا كانت السماء مصحية. And also another narration. Studying the madahibs, you will see within the madahib, within one madhab, two opinions sometimes. So in the madhab of Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he said, if the sky is clean, then we can accept one, testimony from one person. If it is not, then if it is clean, then we have to get the testimony from the citation from many, 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 many people. But if it is, if it is in between, then we need to have two adults, just like what Shafi'i and Malik said. So this is the opinions into this. وأجمعوا على أنه لا يقبل في الفطر إلا اثنان إلا أبي ثور فإنه لم يفرق في ذلك بين الصوم والفطر كما فرق الشافعي. He said they agreed that in the end of the month of Ramadan, they agreed that we cannot stop our fasting and declare tomorrow as Eid except if we have 2 adults who sight the moon. They agreed upon that. What does it mean? After all this agreement, what does it mean? They all come to one common ground. They all came to one common ground, which is, in the beginning, they have a lot of disputes. Some said 2 people. Some said 1 person. At the end, all of them said 2 people, but they look at the circumstance of the sky. Shafi'i has 2 narrations. One said, yes, only 1 person at the end, but then within his madhab, he came with them to a common ground, which is 2 people must be, we have to have 2 people in order to break our fasting, if it is informational. If it is informational, we have to get the information from 2 adult trusted people. So this is what they agreed. This is what they agreed upon. Now let's go to the reason of the ikhtilaf. The reason of the ikhtilaf. The reason one is al-atharu fi hadha al-bab, the ahadith that came into this chapter. نعم. وتردد على خبر في ذلك بعد أن يكون من باب الشهادة أو من باب العمل بالحديث الذي يشترط فيه العدد. Sometimes you see one hadith saying that the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam asked this person, he sighted the moon, he fasted. And you see at the end of the month of Ramadan, the person was asked, sighted it, he fasted. So based on the hadith that they have to do this. So, and the first hadith into this is hadith Abdullah ibn Auf rahimahullah, and also Abdullah ibn Zayd ibn Khattab. He said that أنه خطب الناس في اليوم الذي شك فيه. He said Umar radiallahu anhu one day made a khutbah on a day that people have doubted, which means that people couldn't sight the moon because maybe it was clouded or something like that. فقال, he said, إني جالست أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وسألتهم وكلهم حدثوني أن رسول عليه الصلاة والسلام. He said, I sat with the Prophet with the companions of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, and they all told me that the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام said, صوموا لرؤيته وافطروا لرؤيته فإن غم عليكم فأتموا 30 فإن شهد شاهدان فصوموا وأفطروا. He said, I sat with almost most of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. I asked them this question. They said, they all read this hadith to me. The Prophet ﷺ said, fast based on sighting the new moon. Break your fast by sighting the new moon. فَإِنْ غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ, if it is clouded, if the new moon is concealed within the cloud, فَأَتِمُّوا 30, complete 30 days of counting. Estimate the month as 30 days. فَإِنْ شَهِدَ شَاهِدَانِ, if 2 people witness it, فَصُومُوا وَأَفْطِرُوا, fast and break your fast. So in this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ based the 2 ends of the fasting, the beginning and the end, upon counting, upon sighting, then counting, then sighting the moon based on 2 adults. So this is the beginning of it and the end of it. And the hadith is very plain and clear. And also hadith Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu qala, Ibn Abbas also narrated a hadith. He said, جاء عربي إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال أبصرت الهلال الليلة. He said that the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, Ibn Abbas said, on a day that they were expecting to sight the moon, a Bedouin came to the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام and said, أبصرت الهلال, I found the moon, I sighted the moon last night. فقال, the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام said, أتشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله? قال نعم. He asked him, are you a Muslim? Basically, are you a Muslim? Do you bear witness that there is no Lord but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He said, yes. And do you witness that Muhammad is his servant and messenger? He said, yes. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said to Bilal, أذن في الناس فليصوموا غدا. He said, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam told Bilal to announce to the people that tomorrow they should fast. And this hadith is in Tirmidhi, but also the chain has some dispute in it. And also another hadith, Rubai' ibn Hirash also narrated, أن رجلا من أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال, one of their companions, among the companions of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام said, كان الناس في آخر يوم من رمضان فقام أعرابيان فشهد عند النبي. He said people were expecting to sight the moon at the end of the month of Ramadan. Two Bedouin stood up. They said, we have sighted the moon. Ams Ashiyah. Ams Ashiyah. We have sighted the moon yesterday in the afternoon. فأمر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الناس أن يفطروا. This was even the next day. This was like the Eid day, because they could not find it. So the Prophet ﷺ was there. These two Bedouin came in the morning of the Eid while they were fasting, expecting that is part of the month of Ramadan. They told the Prophet ﷺ, last night we have sighted the moon. The Prophet ﷺ commanded the people to fast, to break their fasting and go to their musalla to perform the salatul Eid. Salatul Eid. نعم. فذهب الناس في هذه الآثار مذهب الترجيح ومذهب الجمع. So when you see contradiction, some that looks like it's contradicting in the fiqh, it has to be a way of combining it, because we have a principle in Islam, in fiqh, that the statements of the Prophet ﷺ cannot be contradicting. We have to understand what each one of them mean and the time frame and what happened till it sounds to us that they contradict. But we have to have a way of al-jama', and this knowledge of al-jama' also within the fuqaha. So some of them use their madhab at-tarjih, which is choosing which one is the best, and one group also choose the madhab al-jama', combining between them. So Imam Shafi rahimahullah is very good in jama', so he combined both of these ahadith based on the division that he made in the beginning and at the end. Malik rahimahullah, he chose the hadith of Zayd because he said there is a chance of qiyas. It's a chance of qiyas because of we may have problem with the person who cited the moon if you don't trust them. So let's just make sure that we are on the safe side by using both of the hadith, by making the two ends at least to be based upon two people who will cite it, not just one person. Now, ويشبه أن يكون أبو ثور لم يرى تعارضا بين حديث ابن عباس رضي الله عنه وذلك أن الذي في حديث ربيع أنه قضى بشهادة اثنين. So there's a chance that Abu Thawr, who went against all the fuqaha, did not see the hadith of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, who limited two people at two ends, who said the Prophet ﷺ said, fast based on citing it and break your fast based on citing it. If it is clouded, then you should count 30 days. But then he went back, he said, the citation or the cite, if you cannot see it also, the information should come from two adults, from two adults. So this is a difference that happened between the fuqaha that we brought to you, inshallah. Now, How about if a person fasts based on the information that came to you, but the person who brought the information while you were fasting during that day, you have doubt about you entrusted this person, you didn't trust this person, what this person is gonna do. The person was fasting based on a person that they don't trust. So when they reach in the middle of the month of Ramadan or in the middle of the day of the month of Ramadan, and they base their fasting, based on this person who cited it, but they have doubt about it. They have doubt about it. In this case, the ulama also, they have a lot of disputes about that. Some said they should break their fast and then make up that day. Some said no. Even if they have doubt, because if they started fasting, they should continue that day, but they also have to make up that day because they are in a doubt, and fasting on the day that you doubt is prohibited. Now, so if we say that sighting the moon can be determined by al-khabar, Al-khabar is information that you get from a person who sighted. So this will take us to the question that we answered in the first halaqah. فهل يتعدى ذلك من بلد إلى بلد? So the information that we get from the person who cited him, can that be extended from that city or from that country to another country? That's the question. هل يجب على أهل بلد ما إذا لم يروه أن يأخذوا في ذلك برؤية بلد آخر أم لكل بلد رؤية? This is the $1 million question that you will hear all the time. He says, citing, we agreed, or receiving the information, we agreed that it can be, these are the two ways of determining how the moon was cited. Either you cite it by yourself or another person cited and gave information to you. So the information that we get, should we use it, or should the information use only locally, or the information can be used globally? So this is the question. And very careful about in this question. I tried to summarize in the beginning, but let's go with what the fuqaha said. He said, فيه خلاف. He said, there's a big dispute and disagreement between the ulama. And I will slow down. فأما مالك, Imam Malik, rahimahullah, فإن ابن قاسم is one of the figures of Imam Malik, rahimahullah. He said, أما فإن ابن قاسم والمصريين رووا عنه أنه إذا ثبت عند أهل بلد أن أهل بلد آخر رأوا الهلال أن عليهم قضاء ذلك اليوم الذي أفطروه وصامه غيرهم. So Imam Malik rahimahullah, in a narration from Ibn Qasim, and when they say Al-Masriyin, at that time they are a group of fuqaha who resided in Masr. Imam Shafi rahimahullah, he also went there later on. He said it's been authentically proven that Imam Malik said, if people, if it is determined and confirmed that a city or a town or a country have sighted the moon on a day that we, on another city, another country, did not fast, and later on found out, I think that person should mute themselves. Okay, I got it. So he said, if a country sighted the moon, or a country did not sight the moon, they break their fast. During that day, the information came to them that the other country, their neighbor, have sighted the moon. Imam Malik rahimahullah, he said, they will make up that day. they wrongly break their fast. So here he's saying that then the information that we get from this person in this city, in this town, locally, can go across the globe. So this is what Imam Malik is saying here. وبه قال الشافعي وأحمد this is what also Imam Shafi rahimahullah said, and Ahmad rahimahullah, and also is narrated, Al-Madaniyun, the Imam Malik rahimahullah has 10 statements that they call Al-Madaniyun, and Malik also. People of Medina, this is their narration from Imam Malik rahimahullah, أن الرؤية لا تلزم بالخبر عند غير أهل البلد اللي وقعت فيه الرؤية. Also another narration that it has been narrated. So the first, Imam Malik, is a narration, and also Imam Shafi rahimahullah and Imam Ahmad rahimahullah. But the people of Medina, they have another narration from Malik rahimahullah saying that if people sighted the moon locally, that is only limited to them. Is only limited to them. It's not obligating other people out of that location to fast based on their local citation. So Imam Malik in his madhab is kind of tricky. In the beginning of the madhab, he said, if people break their fast because they did not sight the moon, other people from different countries sight the moon, and the information came to them during that day that they break their fast, Imam Malik rahimahullah, in this narration, he said they must make up that fast. They must make up that fast. But in another narration, he said, if a citation happened within the region, the fasting of that region is only obligated upon those people who are citing it. إلا أن يكون الإمام يحمل الناس على ذلك. He said, except if the Imam is commanding the people to do what the other countries did. He said, in this case, it's the same. He said that the Imam is a big figure in determining how his community or his country or his people are going to fast based on different citation that happened. Either it was cited by in other countries or it wasn't cited in other countries. So the Imam also have a saying into this based on what Malik, according to Malik, rahimahullah. وبيقال ابن ماجد, Ibn Majishun, he's a very famous faqih also. والمغيرة also. وأصحاب Malik, Mughira also is one of the students or the followers of Imam Malik rahimahullah, and this is something that is being practiced strongly in the madhab of Malik rahimahullah ta'ala. وأجمعوا على أنه لا يراعى ذلك في البلدان النائية كالأندلس والحجاز. He said, but this will not be implemented with the far countries, the countries that are far from each other. Talking about Medina and from Hijaz, which is the Arabian Peninsula, and Andalus. Andalus is where Spain is. So talking about Saudi Arabia and Spain back in the days, it was a long distance because the information will not be able to reach them, within 24 hours. So this is what he's saying. So sometimes you will find a fatwa in the madhab, but within the ulama of the madhab, they may change that fatwa based on the changes of the circumstances of the situation that the mas'ala, that the issue was based upon. So one of those things maybe can be used in this because nowadays it will just take a click, on a phone, the information can move from maybe Mecca to Spain right away. For information, Spain was a very strong Muslim country, and it was called Al-Andalus. It was called Al-Andalus. Now, so this is the difference that happens. I'll summarize it again. They disagreed that the information that we have should that be used locally or globally. Some said, yes, we should use it only locally. Some said we can use it, you can use it globally. So the reason of the disputes, inshallah, we're going to explain that right now. He said, وَالسَّبَبُ فِي هَذَا الْخِلَافِ تَعَارُضُ الْأَثَرِ وَالنَّظَرِ. Here, the reason is the contradiction of the athar. The athar is the actions of the Sahaba after the Prophet ﷺ and also their statements after the Prophet ﷺ. Also, what we see that happened between the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. First, فهو أن البلاد إذا لم تختلف مطالعها كل الاختلاف فيجب أن يحمل بعضها على بعض لأنها في قياس الأفق الواحد. So now they want to bring a practical way of putting a principle on this. Number one, they said, if the whole entire country, are together in one horizon, which means they don't have that much difference. For example, they will share the same day. The sun will rise almost at the same time. This may be an hour or minutes or a couple hours or 2 hours. If that is the case, then those people, they must fast together, because the moon is going to be seen within that region regardless, maybe very close time. So what they're saying is that, for example, in America, we only have maybe 3 hours or so differences within America. So, when sun set here, before 12 at least a.m., the sun will set in whole entire United States. Almost, based on my knowledge. Rectify me later on. We have the discussion. So he said, if that is the case, then we all should fast together. We are considered as one community, people who share one horizon. So this is something that they practically brought as a principle. The second, أما إذا اختلفت اختلافا كثيرا فليس يجب أن يحمل بعضها على بعض. But if the horizon, if the difference is so huge, then they should not base their fasting upon one siding. Let's say, for example, what he's saying is, for example, you go from here to Saudi is 9 hours. It's almost all day, almost like nine hours between the difference. In some countries, you go 12 hours difference. So what he's saying is that if that much difference happens between the countries, then each one of them should, base their fasting locally. So we should not, is what they're saying. They said we should not then base our fasting upon what other people see. This is, for the people who believe in al-ikhtilaf al-mutali', who believe that, hey, each country have their own citing and they should base their fasting on their local citation. These people, they said, we have also a limit of those people, how much difference that they have. If the difference is small, then they should unify themselves to fast based on one day, based on one siding. If the difference is huge, then each one of them should base their fasting upon their citation. So this is what they're about to say, what they want to say here. As for the reasons for the ikhtilaf, the reason for the ikhtilaf, there's a hadith, there's athar. There's athar that Muslim, rahimahullah, narrated. Muslim narrated an Qurayb, al-Fadl, bint al-Harith. There was Qurayb is a Sahabiya, he's a female Sahaba who narrated this hadith. He said, I sent somebody to Muawiyah Sham. He said, I sent somebody al-Harith to Muawiyah in Sham. فقال قدمت الشام فقضيت حاجتها. Harith went to Sham and solved Qurayb's problem. He was sending them for a business trip, whatever. He solved that problem. واستهل علي رمضان وأنا بالشام. I began my Ramadan while I was in Sham. فرأيت الهلال ليلة الجمعة. I sighted myself, I saw this new moon on Friday. ثم قدمت المدينة في آخر الشهر. Then I went back to Medina and I reached to Medina at the end of the month. فسألني عبد الله بن عباس. Ibn Abbas رحمه الله ورضي عنه asked me. He asked me. ثم ذكر الهلال فقال متى رأيتم الهلال. He was questioning me, asking me, we talking. Then he ended up asking me about the moon. When did you guys sight the moon in Sham? Because you were in Sham. متى رأيتم الهلال? When did you sight the moon? فقلت رأيته ليلة الجمعة. I replied to Ibn Abbas that I sighted the moon on Jumu'ah in Sham, and I saw it by myself. فقال أأنت رأيته. He said, did you sight it? Did you see it with your eyes? فقلت نعم. I said yes. ورآه الناس وصام معاوية. I saw it, people saw it, they fasted, and Muawiyah, who was the leader of the Muslims at that time, he said, and Muawiyah also fasted. So listen to Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. He said two great Sahaba. He said, قال لكننا رأيناه ليلة السبت. He said, but as for us in Medina, we sighted the moon on the night of Saturday. So night of Friday they sighted, but for us in Medina, we sighted the moon on the night of Saturday. فلا نزال نصوم حتى نكمل 30 يوما أو نراه. He said, and we will still fasting till we complete 30 days or till we sight the moon. I replied to him, he replied to me, he said, فقلت ألا تكفي برؤية معاوية ألا تكتفي برؤية معاوية. Isn't Muawiyah's citation sufficient for you? فقال لا. He said, no. هكذا أمرنا النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. He said, no, this is how the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام taught us. This is what the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام taught us. But this is what happened between the Sahaba. But subhanallah, with all that, there's no fight, there's no dispute, there's no argument, there's no accusation, there's no pointing fingers. He said, this is how the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام taught us. End of the story. End of the story. So based on this hadith, based on this athar, which is of the Sahaba, it sounds like each country, based on Ibn Abbas, it means that each country, they can base their fasting based on their local citation, and there should be no problems. There should be no problem. So the countries that are close to each other can, unify their citing, and they are fast together. And if they are far from each other, that the time is so different, then each one of them can fast based on their own citation. But right now, based on technology and all those things, we can unify it, or we can difference. So it's so clear and so easy. So we trace the difference. It happens all the way to the Sahaba. So if somebody, and there was no dispute. So if somebody comes and say, hey, okay, to unite the people, let us use calculation. We tell you, no, brother, the Sahaba, they have more knowledge than you and me, and this is what they did. Muawiyah fasted in Sham a different day. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, Muawiyah was the leader of all Muslims at that time. He was a Khalifa. Muawiyah Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu fasted in Medina different days, and you never heard any dispute between them. So I think it shouldn't be any different. Let's just more educate ourselves, inshallah. Then we will see when people talk about the difference, when people point, fingers at each other, you have the knowledge, you will see that, they're doing this because of they don't have the knowledge. They're doing this because of they don't know exactly what happened. So knowing, the more you know, the more, less talk you have. You have less talk and less dispute and less argument. Because if you are content of what you know is authentic, that will help authenticating the practice that you have in your religion. Inshallah, we'll stop here, and I will try, inshallah, to skip some of the topics because I didn't go even deep. I try to summarize it more. Learning the madahibs is very difficult, but inshallah, we just want to make sure that we have the idea. We have the idea to a point that we'll also, have this trust that we have in our religion based on the knowledge that we inshallah seeking. Jazakumullah khair. I will inshallah open the floor for questions. Inshallah, if you have any, You have to unmute yourself in order